Downstairs, if you're interested, that will take like an hour. Please join us if you can.
So, I'm using what you made, I guess, because there was something that you presented that was so I can write it down for you.
That's it. Some kind of so we build the field, so we can really generate capacity amongst young leaders.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting. I think the shared policy agenda would be interesting.
Yeah.
So, I think we'll need to let these thoughts sort of percolate a little bit, and then come back to people very, very quickly. But I really want to stress, I think Sonke does some things well. I think we do glossy materials well.
There's other things.
But yeah, I mean, you guys have deep expertise in the areas that you work in. I don't want it to become too centralized in Sonke.
Yeah. Okay.
Peer-to-peer exchanges, those sorts of things.
I think the idea of a regional institute is particularly interesting because we all know that the biggest gap we've got in policy formation sometimes is research skills and agendas.
Yeah.
If we can benefit from the skills base in South Africa and spread that out into the region, that's going to have a massive impact.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a few areas where we've done work that not many other country networks have done work. So the policy work, some of the research work, but then, as I say, the deep expertise in other places. Just share that.
Machilo's got a residential centre in Mpumalanga.
No way.
We can use it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
And Machilo would love. She ran a Father's Day retreat there last year. We could talk to her because she's the perfect sort of person for us to.
It's a pity we didn't
involve.
honor her here.
I asked, but she wasn't possible. She did. And I asked Regis, but he said it's too South African heavy for me to get anyway.
No, that's true.
But we should have honored Machilo. Actually.
She was a pioneer.
We'll make it up to her.
I wanted to say something.
No, I just wanted to make sure you got a chance to participate in this as well.
Yeah, no, I was for a short while.
Okay.
Because like trying to put their mission and vision, strategies, stuff like that.
Okay. Great.
Tomorrow then.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
And to that.
And the men who carried it out watched or could often be in the room. I don't know if that's what you said.
That's
the
the
thing?
yes.
Okay.
Right.
How did you all respond to that issue?
That is probably a reality.
Yeah.
That the way how we do the activity is to have women share not only their own personal experience, but stories of women experiences that they know are hearing.
Right.
So it's not about saying, I've been raped by whatever it is.
Right.
That's not what we're asking them to say. We ask them to share stories that they've heard that have profound impact, that men have violate or perpetrate on women within the community.
Right. But did women, when in the groups that you've done, did women say they felt safe about having men in the rooms at the same time? They did?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that would be my question.
And women commenting that they want to work to be with women.
So the women from the community are saying we want men to be, that we're, it's a tough one. I mean, sometimes we've done because anywhere in the world, post-conflict or not, that's a risk.
Of course.
The incidence in a post-conflict setting is likely to be much higher, although, maybe not, as we look at some of the South Africa data, for example, or India. It's a huge one. The question is whether it's women and men from the same communities. Rwanda's doing this. It's mixing them, as you know. You guys are providing the training there. Sometimes we'll do the separate, so stuff with men over here, stuff with women over here, and do, progress on some sessions, and then ask, is there a willingness to, a desire to, and then, really sense sort of what's and particularly so that there's women facilitators working with the women's group to feel like, wait a minute, there's men in our community with whom we feel uncomfortable because of this, it's gone unpunished, unrecognized, and we really don't feel safe. Then you sort of give more spaces for women to come up with that. And then, if it makes sense, the Stepping Stones model does that too. When we've done the program H&M, the men's component, the young women's component. we'll do some parallel and then figure out, is there a moment you want to work together?
Yeah.
And then what does that work together mean? It can be quite intense, or it can be more, keep it in the realm of something action planning we're going to do together, or it can be actually processing some of the stuff. So I mean, there's a lot of, we can be in the room and actually be talking about how we feel about it. Because even if you ask me to talk about my friend, if I've been a victim of it or witnessed it, it's awfully close. I mean, not that. I mean, I absolutely agree. That's what we do. Talk about violence. The violence clothesline is one of the ones. Yeah. And so you talk. If you talk about violence you've suffered, we try to make it anonymous and make it very. But we can also focus a lot on it. You can leave out the one I've suffered and just talk about the violence I've witnessed, which is often what we'll do in a very.
And trying to create a safe environment for
exactly,
that, right?
exactly.
So afraid that there is no opportunity, then is that not then minimizing the potential strength that's inherent in people? That
and possibility for recovery.
But it's important to look at what that might come out of, and I understand it might come out of safety, but it also comes out of a certain stereotype, and I like to, I'm very blunt, it comes out of a certain racism that can say that African men are violent, and it's like,
that's a good point.
it's I can understand it because I'm an African man, and when I hear white women say that if I'm in the room, that I will react a certain. It's like, where is that coming from? But let's own that. That you give no opportunity for. So at least that's what I'm saying. I believe and we hold the safety of women. But when one who's in power is so autocratic in making the decision and not giving, it's 50-50. There's a good chance. Let's say there's a chance. I don't know how good, but there's a chance. But there's also a strong chance that it will not. But that you dictate it. What does that come out of? So it's just something to.
It's
and I hold. This is where I come. White people who do good work might not remember their intrinsic racism that comes out in subtle ways. So it's and I'm not saying anybody's bad. I'm just saying that we have to hold that. How it comes out of us.
I mean, the decision was coming more from the other side of the Atlantic, or was coming from their local office?
The local office.
Also is.
But who's the local office?
Okay.
The Atlantic.
Very isolated.
James, I wanted to introduce you my good friend, Mr. Informal. I worked with him for many, many years. He's a good man.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for your kind words. So Gary,
I heard a bit about you, Pastor.
that's what actually James and then maybe I might have said it. In Africa, in the country office, whoever was in charge and with his final say, she or he, is from the other side.
Right, understood.
The next part on African,
Understood.
And the way how I describe it, and I'm brutal about it. There are more Africans than Africans.
Right.
And when that happens, we have to figure out where that comes from.
Right.
And what comes with that. So it's just, again, I understand and hold women's safety. But we have to look at the whole table.
Well, I mean, we organized that meeting and Stephen went to it as well.
Emotional tools in the country to address gender issues and HIV and AIDS.
If I can connect you to...
Can I get you like exact?
Yeah, of course.
I can...
let's go down. Now we have to go.
The same as can I get you, please?